Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the English Learning Podcast. I'm Mark, and I'm so excited to be here with you today.
And I'm Sarah. Hi, everyone. Mark, you sound very energetic today. Did you have a lot of coffee?
Maybe a little too much coffee, but actually, I'm excited because today we are going on a journey.
A journey? Are we traveling somewhere?
In a way, yes. I want you to close your eyes for a second, Sarah. Imagine a small mountain town in France. The year is 1924.
Okay, 1924, France. I'm imagining a lot of snow.
Exactly. It's very cold. There are only about 250 athletes there. They come from just 16 countries.
Only 250 athletes? That sounds very small. The Olympics today have thousands of people.
That's right. But back then, they didn't even call it the Olympics. They called it the International Winter Sports Week.
Wait, so it wasn't the Winter Olympics?
Technically, no, not at first. It was just a sports week in a town called Chamonix.
Chamonix. That sounds fancy. How do you spell that?
It is spelled Chamonix. The X is silent at the end. Chamonix.
Chamonix. Okay, so what happened?
Well, it was so successful that later the International Olympic Committee decided to name it the first Winter Olympics. We say they named it retroactively.
Retroactively. That is a big word. Can you explain that for our listeners?
Of course. Retroactively means you apply a rule or a name to something that happened in the past. So in 1924, they called it Sports Week. Years later, they looked back and said, actually, that was the first Winter Olympics.
Ah, I get it. So they changed the status of the event after it finished. Retroactively.
Exactly. That's a great word to use in business or history.
So, Mark, if it was so small, what sports did they play? Did they have snowboarding?
Oh, definitely not. Snowboarding is very modern. In 1924, they only had 6 sports.
Let me guess. Skiing?
Yes, skiing. Also, ice hockey, speed skating, and figure skating.
I love figure skating. It is so beautiful.
Me too. They also had curling and bobsleigh.
Bobsleigh? I have heard of that, but can you describe it?
Sure. Bobsleigh is that very fast sport where a team sits in a streamlined sled, like a metal capsule, and they slide down a narrow, icy track at high speeds.
Oh, right. The one where they run and jump into the sled?
That's the one. It looks terrifying.
And what about curling? That's the one with the brooms, right?
Yes, in curling, players slide heavy polished granite stones across the ice towards a target area. Other players sweep the ice with brooms to make the stone go faster or change direction.
It sounds like housework on ice.
Some people say that, but it requires a lot of strategy. It's actually called chess on ice.
Chess on ice. That is a cool nickname.
So, Sarah, from those humble beginnings in Chamonix, the games started to grow. But it wasn't always easy.
I assume you are going to tell us about the history?
I am. But first, let's quickly look at the grammar we used. We were using the past simple tense. The event was small. They called it Sports Week.
Yes, we use past simple for finished actions in the past. 1924 is finished, so we use the past tense.
Perfect. Listeners, pay attention to the verbs as we tell more stories. We will use a lot of past tense verbs.
Okay, I'm ready for the next part. How did it get from a small French town to the huge event it is today?
Well, the road wasn't always smooth. After Chamonix in 1924, the Games happened every 4 years. But then, something big happened in the world.
The Second World War?
Exactly. The Games were actually canceled in 1940 and 1944 because of World War II.
That is sad. All those athletes who practiced but couldn't compete.
I know. It reminds us that sports are connected to the real world. We can't separate them.
Did things get better after the war?
Yes, they did. The Games returned and they started to expand. More countries joined and eventually more women started competing too.
That is good news.
And that brings us to the stories. The Winter Olympics are famous for amazing stories. Have you heard of the Miracle on Ice?
I think so. Was that a movie?
Yes, they made a movie about it. But it was a real event in 1980. It happened in Lake Placid, USA.
What happened?
Well, at that time, the Soviet Union, Russia, was the best ice hockey team in the world. They had won gold almost every time. They were professionals.
Okay.
The American team was just a bunch of college kids. No one expected them to win. It was a classic David versus Goliath story.
Wait, can we pause? David versus Goliath. That is a biblical phrase, right?
Yes, but we use it in English to describe a contest where a small, weak opponent faces a giant, strong opponent.
Okay, so the college kids were David and the Soviet team was Goliath.
Exactly. And guess what? The college kids won.
Wow, that is a huge upset.
Good word. Upset. In sports, an upset is when the favorite team loses to the underdog.
An underdog is the person or team expected to lose?
Yes, we love rooting for the underdog.
That is a great story. Do you have another one?
I do. Have you heard of Eddie the Eagle?
Eddie the Eagle? That sounds like a cartoon character.
He was a real person, Michael Edwards. He was a British ski jumper in 1988.
Was he very good?
Actually, no. He was quite bad. He finished last. He wore thick glasses that fogged up in the cold.
If he came in last, why is he famous?
Because he never gave up. He was an amateur. He had no money and no team, but he just wanted to fly. The crowd loved him because he had so much spirit.
Aw, that is sweet. It shows that winning isn't everything.
Exactly. In English, we often say, it's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game.
It's not whether you win or lose, it's how you play the game. I like that.
Eddie the Eagle represents the human spirit. But as time went on, the Olympics changed. It became less about amateurs like Eddie and more about technology.
Technology? You mean like better phones?
I mean sports technology. Better skis, aerodynamic suits, and even artificial snow.
Artificial snow? You mean fake snow?
Yes, in recent years, climate change has made it harder to find natural snow. So, host cities use machines to make snow.
That sounds expensive.
It is, and it brings us to the modern era. The Olympics today are huge, expensive, and high-tech. Welcome to the final part of our episode today. We've traveled from 1924 to 2026, and we've learned some great English vocabulary along the way.
Yes, let's review some of those key words before we finish. Repetition is the key to learning, right?
Absolutely. Okay, Sarah, do you remember the word for when a weak team beats a strong team?
That is an upset, like the miracle on ice.
Correct. And what do we call the weak team?
The underdog. Everyone loves an underdog.
Perfect. What about the word for applying a name to something in the past?
Retroactively. They named the first games retroactively.
You got it. And finally, the word for doing things in an eco-friendly way?
Sustainability. Very important for the future of the planet and the Olympics.
Wonderful. Listeners, try to use these words in a sentence today. Maybe write them down in your notebook.
Or even better, tell a friend about the history of the Winter Olympics using these words.
That's a great idea. Teaching someone else is the best way to learn.
Mark, looking at the future, do you think the Winter Olympics will keep growing?
I think so, but I think the focus will change. It will be more about technology and protecting the environment, but the core feeling, the excitement of competition, will stay the same.
I agree. There is something magical about seeing people from 90 different countries playing together in the snow.
It brings the world together.
Mark, we should ask our listeners the question you asked me earlier.
Oh, right. Listeners, we want to hear from you. Which Winter Olympic sport would you try if you could?
Would you choose the dangerous bobsleigh, the artistic figure skating, or maybe Mark's favorite, curling?
Don't laugh at curling. It's harder than it looks.
I know.
Please share your answer with us in the comments or send us a message. We love hearing from you.
And tell us why. Use the word because. I would try skiing because I love speed.
Great tip. Well, Sarah, I think that brings us to the end of our snowy journey.
It was a fun trip. I feel a bit colder now, just talking about all that ice.
Go get some hot chocolate.
Good idea.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Keep practicing your English, stay curious, and we will see you in the next episode.
Bye, everyone. See you next time.
Bye.